create a replicable model for fostering grassroots community dialogue.
A big part of the idea was to create a space where people could come together and be able to talk through their despair, grief, frustration, anger about climate change.
And they like the idea, just enough to create a pilot version of 2 events to field test our approach. This is the first of those 2 in the series, the pilot. So our approach is based on the idea that people do care very much about climate change, and that our apparent silence or our denial is often an emotional coping strategy for dealing with an issue that can seem overwhelming.
There's a lot of information out there about the problem, but not really a space to talk freely about it and to find other people that are willing to have a conversation about it.
The organization, I guess, is like a kind of like conversation-based community group started by Maria, who does kind of like a lot of public education work on trying to engage people on like really normally difficult topics for people to talk about.
I spent, years developing those approaches, and now they're like ready to go, and I feel like I learned so much about how to read the energy of a group.
Around this issue where people who are deeply concerned about it feel unsure about how to even bring the subject up. But raise your hand if you feel like this is a difficult subject to bring up with friends and family. Like you would hesitate.
I would go through periods, especially in the winter, of, I would call it depression. Just get very upset to not have people in my, that I could see, that I could experience, like making the connections of this is not natural.
My name is Maria Tolero. I'm an independent community climate change educator and organizer. My work is about creating human spaces and human experiences where people can reconnect to their hope, their optimism, and their moral courage on climate change.
Right. So I want to bring some radical research tools to bear on that new wave of investigation into climate change messaging to help it move faster.
Where it's called Community Climate Courage, and we use film and video as an invitation to bring people in, because that's one of the things that helps people connect, is let me watch a film that engages my creative moral imagination. For this to work well, we need to have a kind of network of volunteers who are present in those groups and who are guiding the discussion in special ways. So we don't call those folks facilitators, we call them conversation hosts. And the reason we don't call them facilitators is facilitation is usually thought of as something that requires kind of training. Part of our promise is we think that we can do this in a way that is replicable. We think we can do this in a way that where we create a toolkit for folks in other communities and a video. So we have a videography team. They're our friends and our allies, and they are here as friendly faces to help tell the story of what we're doing, because this doesn't exist.
There was this aspect of trying to figure out how to get more active. What groups can you get involved with? And having opportunities to meet with some of those groups and talk to some of those folks and figure out ways to be more engaged in that community.
Give you a series of actions that you can plug into right away. So,
come in peace, they said.
To dig and sow.
Part of the beauty of what happened today was the process. I mean, it was a way of empowering people to speak about climate change. I'd like to see this happen around other issues, as well as this one.